What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning, African superstar family. It is Gina Ifowe, the one and only African superstar, and I'm here with another Unpopular Opinions Live. Now, please, when you come in the room, you should know the protocol by now. Just like the stream and greet me in the chat room and share your thoughts on the topic. I want to start by saying a special shout out to the customers at AfricanSuperstar.com. Big shout outs to those of you that place Valentine's Day orders. Yes, so be on the lookout for your shipping information and all of that. Much love to our members only who support our platform on a monthly basis. They are designated by the circle next to their name. And last but not least, all of you guys that are African superstar music lovers and have contributed and supported our music project. I would like to add to this part of the shout outs. If you have Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, whatever, Audio Mac, please go ahead and add me to your streams. It's free. So it's another way to support our music project and get the music out there. Okay. Today I want to talk about this topic. It's a big problem in our community. And I did see a live stream last night from O'Shea Duke Jackson, which I did share on the community tab. So if you have not seen that video, I would highly recommend it. Obviously, I don't share a lot of videos with you guys because I want it to be poignant when I actually do share things and that you'll recognize that it's important. But in the video that I shared, O'Shea talked about Snoop Dogg going to the Grammys, and he posted on his Instagram all these other rappers that had gotten Grammy awards, like Jay-Z and I believe Drake and Puff Daddy and stuff. And he has been nominated himself for 20 different Grammy awards, and he has never won one. So O'Shea was talking about why we don't take the initiative to start things for ourselves, especially if we are in an elevated position, especially if we are wealthy, especially if we are famous and popular. You know, we saw this, there was an interview that was circulating a few months ago from Kanye West and Sway, who is a popular, radio personality and all these things. And Sway told Kanye a long time ago, pre-Balenciaga, pre-Yeezys, pre-Adidas, and all those collaborations that he did, that Yeezy should start his own fashion house. And I think that with our people, it is so common for us to look beyond our community, our people, our talent, for solutions to the problems that we face. We're also seeing this recently with this whole, passport bro movement. You have a lot of men from America, primarily American Black men, that are not happy with the dating prospects where they are. And instead of them looking at the root cause of a lot of this stuff, they rather look beyond their community to try to find a solution, which we know that it creates additional problems when we look outside of our community, right? We know it creates additional problems when we don't want to address the problem, the root cause, right? It's much better, although it might be more challenging to address the root cause of the problem. It's much better to do that than to deal with the fallout and deal with the symptoms of what becomes. I'm willing to barter that, for instance, if Black men were willing to step up and take more responsibility and accountability for the issues in the Black community, if they were willing to put their heads to the task of solving some of these things, if they were willing to actually become part of the solution, then we would see a radical change, for instance, in our communities. But until people begin to look at their immediate surroundings and begin to apply problem solving to those areas, you'll always have this problem. I believe that this is one of the reasons many diasporians are coming back to the continent. because they realize, you know what, I'm not respected out here. The prospects of my future, generational wealth, family, all of these things are limited in this setting. In addition, I have additional things that I'm dealing with in this setting that I wouldn't have to necessarily deal with on the continent. And diasporians, mature diasporians, are understanding, you know what? I rather maybe confront some of the challenges on the continent than be subject to these things here in which I'm powerless to address. They're essentially going back to the root. You see, like I talked about briefly, this passport bro movement. A lot of these men are going to foreign countries, non-Black foreign countries. You know, obviously there's lots of Latinas that are Afro-Latinas, but I think that's also interesting. You know, diasporians are coming to the continent, and diasporians are interested in fraternizing, living, and intermarrying with a form of themselves, basically. But yet we see a lot of our men, unfortunately, refusing to address the problem. I saw this very, very, very profound TikTok the other day, and I think I might actually do like a TikTok reaction to it. And there was a man, a biracial man, who said that Black men are basically enjoying what other men have raised and other men have cultivated. And I thought, wow, that's a very interesting perspective, but it's true. Because if we put it in the perspective of, let's say, food, shout out to the family. If you're here, please like the stream. I know it's a little early. Yes, it's a little early, but sometimes I go early for the early birds. What's up, Janelle's the only one in our chat room so far. Good morning. Thank you for watching. Let's put it in terms of food. Janelle's here. She can definitely relate to what I'm going to say. I'm pretty sure Janelle has prepared holiday meals before in the past, maybe Thanksgiving dinner, maybe Easter dinner, maybe Christmas dinner, and all these things, birthdays and whatnot. When you are trying to get ready for that feast, you know, you might struggle to get your kids to go to the grocery store with you, or come and help you cook, or come and help you clean the dishes. But when that food is on the table, everybody's ready to eat. Sometimes you might be in the kitchen putting it all together, and they come in and say, hey, mom, hey, auntie, hey, grandma, is the food done? I'm so hungry. In other words, people are ready to eat after it's prepared, after someone has invested the money for the food or taken the time to, you know, prepare it and all that stuff. And then, you know, there's a presentation. You know, I know at my mother's house and my grandmother's house, shout outs to anybody who can recall this. You know, I have such lovely memories of all of my grandparents. But they used to have what's called a china closet. Shout outs to anybody who knows what a china closet is. And basically, when you get married, it's always it's been customary, at least I know, you will get a set of fine china. And that is meant to be used for special occasions. And you, as a new wife, you will get this fine china. And, you know, it's not supposed to be your everyday dishes. You know, it's for if you have guests over, holidays, or this kind of thing. And so my grandmother had a china closet. My mother also had one where, you know, you display this fine china. And it's expensive dishes and things like that. And I remember when I was getting married and we did the registry, and I went to Macy's. I went to Macy's at Easton. Shout outs to all my homies in Columbus. Big shout outs to all my Ohioans. Yeah, I went to Macy's at Easton, and I did my registry at Macy's. And a couple other shops, I believe Target, and I believe maybe, was it JCPenney? Yeah, I had a couple of different options. But I registered my fine china at Macy's, and we actually did get the set. I don't know where they are now. I don't remember where. Anyway, nonetheless, the point is that we are looking outside of our community too much for the answers. Okay, many continentals are looking to the West, looking to migrate to foreign lands Too many people are wanting to raise their children in these schools. People are looking outside of their immediate environment for romantic partners, opportunities, and it is causing us so much hardship. A lot of people are even delaying moving on in life because they can't get started until they move to another country. Nobody in their city or state is eligible for their romantic attention. There's no prospects where they are. There's no business opportunities where they are. Everything has to be somewhere else. You might even be the kind of person, you know what, I don't like going to the gym in my neighborhood. They don't have the best equipment. I rather go to, I know in the UK, some of the luxury gyms is the Virgin gyms, okay? Associated with the Virgin brand. I believe his name is Robert Branson, okay? And they're known as some of the top gyms. It's like the luxury fitness clubs, you know? Yeah, the gym around my hood, that's within my budget. That's going to take me 10 minutes to get there. That one's not good. I want to go to the top gyms. I want to go to the one with the spa and the jacuzzi. I want to go where they have the sauna, and, you know, and then maybe you're not even utilizing those things. If you are utilizing those things, more power to you. But I'm making a correlation, and I really want my audience to think about this. You know, and this is something that maybe you can impart to your young people in your lives. Sometimes living modestly, living average, in many cases, it's really nice. You know, there's a prophet named Biggie Smalls. He said, more money, more problems. Anybody who's watching me today knows that as you escalate in life, it comes with a different set of challenges. It comes with different level, next level. For people that are looking outside of their demographics for romantic prospects, know that it comes with cultural differences. Know that traveling will be involved. Know that you're looking at having family internationally. How does that translate when you are trying to raise your children or exposure? I can personally say, as a child of, you know, migrant parents, I didn't enjoy growing up without being around my family. You know, I didn't enjoy having a small family in America when I had massive family abroad. You know, small birthday parties, you know, couple people at the graduations. I basically had to always get on a plane to see family members. You know, there was not a Christmas where everybody was ever together. You know, it was like, okay, maybe a couple family members. I know my grandmother from Bermuda, shout outs to my grandmother, Grandma Bassett. She used to come and travel, you know, until she got quite elderly. She used to come and visit us in Ohio sometimes, and it would be so lit. And then I used to go, me and my sisters would go in, you know, the summertime periods and stuff. I used to go to Bermuda all the way up until I went to university. I used to go. And, you know, these are the small things that we don't consider when we are actually mapping out this life. I think about the people like, wow, you know, I look at some of the people here in Ghana, and I think how amazing it must be to have a generational family all in one place. You know, your great grandmother or grandfather or whatever is just in the village, couple hours away. Your mom and dad are down the corner. Then your in-laws are there. You know, you get to be in the environment with your classmates. You know people. You know, being international is very luxury. I know that it's luxury. I know that it's an experience that not everybody will get to have in their life, but it definitely has some drawbacks and some challenges. You know, I have to moderate immigration situations between 3 countries. You know, I was thinking like, okay, I'm preparing for my upcoming trip. I'm having a trip soon. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go renew my residency permit here in Ghana. And then my American passport, it has expired. And then, you know, do I need a visa to move on my British passport to these, you know, these are complex things that I know some of my colleagues from school, for instance, back in Ohio, they don't even have passports. They, you know, if they're not having to hit the road to go on maybe a road trip or something, you know, traveling, it's not great. Being able to address your community and build within your community It's how you build community. It's how you build families. It's how you strengthen ties. We as Black people are looking everywhere else except in front of us, except our peers, except our homeland, except our own solutions, our own custom solutions for our own people, seeing needs for our people and answering those needs, because outsourcing is never a good thing. And I don't know where we got the concept that outsourcing was the way. I don't know how, our people began to formulate that, as opposed to understanding that when I provide for myself, that puts me in the best position. Providing for myself, doing for myself is the way forward. Doing for myself is actually synonymous with freedom, because it puts me in control of, the operation, instead of allowing someone else to be in control of the operation. And when someone else is in control of the operation, you are always at a disadvantage, because they're going to be serving their interests, as they should. They've set it up, so they want to benefit from it. We have been really groomed, especially in the West. I see this, so much when I see or hear diasporian opinions of the continent. I see that we really, really have been brainwashed to not understand the capability of our own hands, the capability of our own minds. We know the capability of our voice because we like talking. We do that exceptionally well. We know how to complain. We know how to critique. We know how to tear down people. Yeah, we can get a bandwagon when it comes together of doing that. Meanwhile, if there's a meaningful project, we can't rally behind it and uplift it. There's no reason, with all the talented members of the diaspora, that we are not answering some of these questions and solving some of these problems. Big shout outs, guys. If you're here, go ahead and leave me something in the chat room. Make sure you like the video. What's up, family? Janelle says, I gave an analogy earlier about how everybody's always ready to eat. Okay, very few of them want to cook with you. They don't want to go to the grocery store with you. They don't want to set the table. They don't want to wash the dishes when it's all said and done. But they're ready to be served. They're ready to eat. Now, fortunately for us, Janelle is a loving person. But what if she wasn't? What if she was wicked? What if she was like, I'm sick of all these people just always coming to my house. They always want to eat. They never put in. I'm always slaving here for hours cooking, blah, blah. What if she put something in the food? Huh? You see, these are the disadvantages when you let someone else facilitate everything for you. Okay? If you let someone else have ultimate control. This is why Black people are in the state that they're in America. Sorry for that. This is why Black people are in the state they are in America. Huh? They leave it up to Al Sharpton. They leave it up to the government. They leave it up to the Democrats. They leave it up to God. They leave it up to Allah. They leave it up to the afterlife and karma. Instead of them saying, no. This can't go on. We're not going to keep putting up with this. Like I said, O'Shea's video was very, very poignant. I had to share it on the tab because he also challenged Black men to start standing up and being the pillars in their community and start solving problems. Everybody's running from the problem. Everybody's running from a problem like, when in those ghetto movies, I've never actually physically seen it. But in those ghetto movies, when the people are living like really slum places, really poor places, and they turn the lights on and the roaches scatter everywhere. That's how our people are doing. Oh, we have a problem with the youth. Everybody's turning their back. Oh, there's a gender war between Black men and women. Oh, we can't do this. We can't do that. You get a handful of people that have the attitude of, okay, let's solve it. Let's do it. And you get millions that are scattering when the light is turned on them, you know? And it's crazy because in other communities, and, you know, again, this is a pro male, you know, I love Black men and I believe in them. But the truth is, we are not performing well. And we can begin to assess that by looking at our men. You know, our men are the genesis of the community. As they continue to retreat and as they continue to take less and less responsibility over their role in the community, less responsibility in their houses, less responsibility with their kids, less entrepreneurial responsibility. You know, when we look at the strength of previous Black communities, a lot of that was centralized around men who were definitely supported and motivated and involved with strong Black women. But they were the ones out there soliciting the attention of their brothers. They were the ones out there that were encouraging their brothers. And the men were encouraged by seeing a representation of themselves. You know, this is why the civil rights movement was popular. This is why the Black Panther movement was popular. Okay, you had lots of dynamic revolutionary women on board, but the figureheads of all these movements were males. And right now we look at the chaos in the West with our Black communities, you know, and I would say the same dynamic in Europe as in America in regards to these Black families, you know, and these youth just being totally lost. You know, I can tell you right now, if you go to the hood and you want to politic with the young men on the corner right now, you want to have a conversation with the drug dealers or the gangbangers, they would probably be much more receptive to a male or some men going over there and saying, hey, let me holler at you, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to go sit down for a meal? I just want to have a chit chat with you or whatever. They would be so much more receptive than a lady coming over there and say, hey, you know, let me mentor you, basically. We have the situation right now where a lot of Black women are mentoring and raising young Black males. And quite frankly, you know, it's not great. The outcomes of a lot of these gentlemen is not great. A lot of them are not able to go on to matriculate families. And we need to understand that the currency in many other cultures is heavily in their males. You know, people invest in their male children because they know that that is how the lineage continues. You know, but we're looking outside. You know, we're not passionate about who is influencing our future. You know, we see how crazy and chaotic it's getting. We see it. And maybe some of you guys have been affected, and maybe some of you guys have even become victims of a lot of these young people that are clearly misguided and suffering from insecurities and all this kind of stuff. We turn a deaf eye, guys, and outsourcing is not the way forward. We're looking everywhere except right in front of us. You know, when I first became painfully aware of how the world perceived me, I was not happy with the way that the world perceived me. And at that level, I decided, you know what? I'm going to use my voice and my intellect to begin to communicate with my people. I know I have a different perspective. I know that I'm dynamic. I know that I'm different. So let me go ahead and do that in a medium where I can be influential to my people. This is my way of trying to address a problem that I found. Just one person. Okay, I don't have an army around me and I don't have a lot of money and all these things, but I'm starting where I am to address the problems that I see. You know, I use my music, I use my clothes, I use my YouTube, I use my speaking to share this message. It also solves a problem for me. I need a livelihood. I need income. I looked at Gina and said, okay, Gina, you're creative. You're smart. You have gifts, you have talents. How can that translate to meet your needs? You know, my vow, basically, Black lovers stay single. I will either procreate within my community or not. You know, so many of my viewers and so many Black people globally, they can't even say that. They can't even say, I've made the decision to procreate within my people. They can't even say it because they want to always have that back door. And I'm telling you, listen up to me right here, right now, family. If you refuse to address the problems that confront you, and maybe even you kind of mosey through life, your children or your children's children will pay. Yes, they will. They will absolutely pay for the fact that you refuse to address the problem. That's why so many of us in the diaspora right now, we are creating the transition to the continent. People that came before us could have laid the groundwork for us. They could have began the foundation for us, but they didn't. And now guess what? The problem is confronting us. The problem of racism has been an indefinite problem for our people in these Western settings. But instead of us stopping the buck and saying, no, we're not going to tolerate that. We're going to focus on our homelands. We're going to, create opportunities there. We're going to marry within our communities. We're going to build generational wealth. Instead of us saying, that's it. Because truth be told, making those decisions and sticking to those decisions, they can be challenging. It can be difficult. And we're always running from the pain. But we're still feeling pain. We're still going through hardships, even though we're trying to escape it. So my attitude is like, okay, if I'm going to go through pain no matter what, then I don't want to go through a pain and still be somebody's bitch and still be somebody's peon and still have nothing to show. I'd rather struggle and have something to show at the end. You feel me? I'd rather struggle and it be meaningful than struggling in vain, because you struggle in either side. Some people believe, a lot of continentals, their attitude is, yeah, I know there's problems in America. This is, people that have definitely never traveled. When you tell them your grievances, when they ask you why, and then you tell them the grievances, and they say, okay, well, I know it could be, you're going to have challenges. You're going to be tired. You're going to have to work, and maybe the weather's not nice, but at least you're still earning money. The reality is you may be earning money, but you've lost your dignity. The cost of living is chopping that money. It's not like you're becoming a millionaire. It's not like you're, I think most of us could buckle down for 10 years if we knew at the end of 10 years we're going to be a millionaire. If we knew, okay, you know what? I'm going to work 10 years. I make 100,000 plus a year. And at the end of 10 years, I'm going to be a millionaire. I can retire and it's all good. Most of us could keep quiet for that. First trivia question. How many of you guys have worked over 10 years so far in your life? Let me see a number one. Shout outs to the family. First trivia question. Shout outs to ATM Tim. Janelle says, been wanting a more simple life. Definitely. I opted for the more simple life when I moved out of the US and I haven't looked back. I haven't owned a car. I don't have a mortgage. In my perspective, just a lot of things that other people value, high power corporate careers and big titles and lots of money and the big house and all that stuff. I don't need it. Even when it comes to like a lot of women, the man that they're wanting this Superman and this high value man. I don't want that. Rich man, I don't want that. I've always told, anybody can attest to you, I've never, ever, ever said I want a rich man. Because I understand when you have a rich man, there are consequences that would come with that rich man. He might be traveling a lot for work, so he has no time for you. He may neglect your emotional needs because he can buy you things or give you money, or he takes care of the financial needs. So he feels like, okay, that's enough. I don't have time to go to the park with you, or go to so-and-so's wedding, or I'm going to be out of town for the baby shower. You know, when you want your husband present, he can't be around because of the demands of his career. I don't want that. You're raising kids. You're basically like a single mother sometimes, raising your children because your husband is always gone. And, you know, the truth is we need companionship. We have a desire. We have desires for, you know, intimacy and emotional support and conversation and all these things. And so when there's a lot of space there, or your needs aren't being met, you start entertaining, you know, things that are not healthy for you. You start having extra relationships. You start hooking up with people that are not good for you. And it leads to these other problems. And I personally, you know, I think a lot of women are being vocal out here, and it is what it is. But I would love to see men step up more. You know, men start addressing it. Men start calling out their peers, having conversations with their peers, telling them this, you know, this outlook is not it. You know, right now we can go online and find thousands of videos from the passport bros encouraging other men to start going abroad and looking for partners. How many videos can we find of men saying, hey guys, let's start looking at this thing more intently. Let's start analyzing what is happening in our community. You know, are you having conversations with your brothers about how they do or don't take care of their children? Out of 10 friends, you know, for the males in this room, out of 10 of your bros, how many of them are married? How many of them are raising their kids? How many of them are contributing to their children or have relationships with their children? You know, you guys can talk about the Super Bowl and the new, you know, LeBron, you know, announcement and all this stuff. But the things that are important, do you talk about it? What happened to the weekly meetings in the hood, you know, the community meetings? I remember when I was growing up, the Nation of Islam used to, you know, they may still, I'm not sure, but they had their own newspaper, and they would be out there selling it. And they would go to the barber shops, and they would go to the basketball courts where they knew that the brothers were, and, you know, try to mentor them. That's one thing that I do respect about the Nation of Islam, is that they do cultivate strong Black men. You know, they do cultivate family men. They do cultivate men who want to exercise their responsibility in the community. I've always seen that from their you know, community. And they have an attitude that, yeah, I'm gonna do what I can to do outreach. If we're not, we can't keep outsourcing, guys. The world's not big enough for us to continue to run. And running is tiring and draining and costly. You know, if many diasporans are honest with themselves, they may have loved to just make their life where they began their path. You know, I think obviously if, you know, I could have matriculated well in Ohio, it would be so much more convenient. You know, truth be told, I miss my little sister sometimes. You know, I miss my mom. I miss just being able to drive to her house or whatever, or treat my sister to lunch, or go out with some of my good girlfriends. I miss some of those things. Unfortunately, the environment was too hostile for me to make my life. But if it were a livable place, the way Ghana is livable, you know, the way that perhaps my future children will be able to appreciate the community here and things like that. Looking outside of our community, guys, for the answers. Hoping on the white man to provide it. Hoping for God, you know, if it's God's will. No. It's got to be our decision and then our implementation that solves it. A lot of the things that we're going through should be solved. You know, these issues between Black men and Black women is a huge opportunity for therapists, for relationship counselors. You know, I mean, there's so many things that can be done to begin to break down these walls that our people should be facilitating. The needs here on the continent. You know, the diaspora and the Ghanaian diaspora here in Ghana should be addressing a lot of these issues. We can't all be relying on government when we know the government won't solve it. Huh? First trivia question was, how many of you guys have worked over 10 years? What's up, 3P? I see you. YPK says, the concept of outsourcing is a result of slavery and colonization. Good morning. What's up, Michelle? I see you there. Tilly to the top. Make sure you guys like the streams. Today, we're talking about outsourcing. Too many of you guys are looking beyond your surroundings for the answers. And it's not the right methodology. Okay? There's the saying my pastor always used to say, my previous pastor used to always say, start where you are, use do what you can, use what you have, something like that. Okay? And that means you start where your feet hit the ground. You know, and those treasure maps, if you guys ever watch like any pirate movies or any Pirates of the Caribbean, they got a little map, X marks the spot. That's where you start. You look at self. You know, when you're complaining about Black men and Black women, look at yourself. Black women, are you the right representation? Are you like them, or are you like what needs to be? You know, are the stereotypes that are being projected on you, are they valid or are they false? That starts with you. Black men, are the stereotypes true about you? Huh? Are you lazy? Are you not taking care of your kids? Are you adverse to starting a family, building a community? Do you have future plans? You know, what is your role? Are you more like the stereotype? Are you more like what we need? Because when people start doing that work, you know, when you look at yourself and say, wow, I really am like this stereotype. I really do fit the bill. You know, I really am like that. For the diasporans that come here to the continent, are you like these separatists? Do you behave like you're a white American here in Ghana? Do you look down on the locals? Huh? Have you bothered to learn any of the language or try the food? Do you have any local associations, any friends? If you've been spending any semblance of time here in Ghana and you don't, then you need to look at yourself and realize, okay, because there's only two ways to see yourself. You're either part of the problem or part of the solution. That's it. If you are a YouTuber or content creator, TikTok or whatever, is your message building our community, or is your message tearing our community down? Is your message or image uplifting our people, or is it continuing to perpetuate the stereotypes? Because you can't be both. You can't be both. And this is just a question you ask yourself. Are you someone who's running from the problems? Or are you someone who's solving the problems? You should be able, the same way I can give a laundry list of what I'm doing to address my grievances. Okay? I can run down, boom, 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 what I'm doing to address most of my grievances. Can you do the same? The things you complain about on a regular basis, can you actively say that you are doing anything at any level to address those things? Can you say that you're raising your children well? Huh? Look at your kids. Some of you guys might have teenagers or whatever. Do they have the skills to live on their own? Do they have the skills to run a family, to be a good wife, to be a good husband? If not, whose fault is that? Because aside from their schools, you are the person who ideally should be spending the most time with your child. So if your child's not equipped, with the skills to live the life, live life or be an adult. Whose fault is that? We are outsourcing all the responsibility, and it is not faring well. It is failing us. It is failing us. All this drama that's going on. And quite frankly, in the international community, the diaspora is getting an image, because we don't even know how to go to new lands and try to, change our situation. It's one thing if we are in that environment and we are hindered, okay? Which means people are deliberately hindering us from moving forward. But when you move into a new environment and you have liberty and you still can't do anything, then whose fault is that? Self-assessment. And you guys don't need therapy, sometimes. I'm a big proponent in you taking control of your own situation. Sometimes it's just you being honest. You looking in the mirror. You having a conversation with your thoughts. You looking it over. When you look at yourself from a third party perspective, are you pro or are you con? You say that you love the continent. Are you pro? Huh? This goes further than the mask-shaped earrings and the Sankofa, a dinker symbol and the dashikis, and it goes a lot further than that. Are you pro? If you're pro-Africa, that means when you get here, you're interested in Africa. You're interested in your new home. Okay? To be segregating and talking down to people and acting superior, all that stuff, that's not pro. That's con. That kind of behavior is not going to help you or us or anyone matriculate here. Huh? What kind of man are you? What kind of woman are you? What are your kids? What? Look at that. Look at that. And determine. When I think about who the African superstar is, what I have created, what I continue to do, it's remarkable. I am deeply proud of what I have begun to achieve. Other people that are very close to me and meaningful are proud of who I am. And that makes me feel amazing, because I literally am the answer to my own prayers. The things I want to see, the things I need, the things I would appreciate from my peers, I offer it. Can you say that you are that kind of man or that kind of woman? If not, that's where the soul searching becomes. That's where it begins, rather. You start looking at yourself and say, you know what, look, these areas, I'm too quick-tempered. I'm unreliable. I complain too much. I don't finish anything that I start. I don't spend enough time with my kids, my fitness, my health. You start looking at those areas and consciously transforming them. And eventually you'll see change. Eventually you'll be something better, something different, something improved. But not until we start looking at ourselves. I talked about in my previous video in regards to this black male relationships and stuff. It's crazy because you have black women that are, going into the international community looking for partners, and you have black men that are doing the same thing. And people will look at us from a third party view and say, well, damn, both of you guys kind of want the same things, right? So why are you guys not able to have conversations about the breakdown? You can have arguments and you can throw blame as to, the black man ain't doing this and the black woman ain't doing this and y'all this and y'all that. Y'all can do that shit for days. Excuse my language. Y'all can do that because I'm so tired of seeing it here on social media. Very few people are like, look, let's get to these root causes and try to find out how to rehabilitate our families. I can say quite simply what needs to happen in regards to black families in the West is the women need to calm down. Yes. Calm down, shut up, stop talking, stop being disrespectful. Yes, he might get on your nerve. Okay. Sorry. It's the way of the women of the past that have had generational families. It's cultural all around the world. Women have to deal with their demeanor. One of the worst things about women in the West is their demeanor. Some of them are disrespectful, some of them are violent, some of them are antagonistic and difficult. I mean, I'm not a man, but I wouldn't want to deal with some of these women that I see on social media. You know, they want Prince Charmings with rocket ships and yachts, yet they have not even begun to do the work on themselves. It's crazy. You know, yet some of these people will say they believe in the golden rule, which is do unto others as you want them to do unto you, which means that you should be in a peer with your you should be in a category with your peers if that's it. So if you want a Prince Charming with a rocket ship and a yacht, what do you bring to that Prince Charming? What are you willing to bring to his world? And quite frankly, there's probably like 1% Prince Charmings in the whole world, which means the majority of the partners that are available are not Prince Charmings. You know, what's wrong with the average brother? What's wrong with the above average brother? You don't obviously want, the low class. But, what's wrong with the man who's making an effort? And not like, hey, baby, you know what I'm saying? Can I borrow $20? But the brother who went to school, got educated, has a job, independent, taking care of his children, or wants to say, what's wrong with that? Some ladies would get that and be disgruntled and not be happy with that. And then you have the men that are blaming women for their situation. And I do realize that some of this comes from, situations with their mothers or rejection in the past from other women. But maturity will tell you that that doesn't apply to every woman. And when, for instance, you may meet a partner that is showing you interest and making the effort to meet you halfway, we have a bad habit of rejecting those types and gravitating to the dysfunctional one who doesn't call, who won't marry you, who is irresponsible. We gravitate to that and we run away from, what is ideal or what is long lasting. And I just felt like I should have this conversation with you guys because I don't understand this behavior of our people. And we can keep talking about colonization and we can keep talking about systematic stuff. And, all of that definitely has some relevance, but a lot of that could be addressed if we start putting our foot down right now and making the necessary changes for the future. This gender war is something that needs to be quelled right here, right now. And this outsourcing, is something that needs to be quelled right now. I learned a long time ago in my teenage years that my life was really dependent on the decisions I was making. That's why I was able to avoid a lot of the things that some of my peers experienced because I consciously avoided it. Childhood pregnancy, flunking out of college, getting DUIs, having car accidents, all these kind of things that people that were careless, people that weren't thinking about the future, people that were not ordering their steps, they fell into them because they didn't have any concept of avoiding them. They didn't learn how to be proactive and they didn't learn how to be strategic. All they know, what our people know heavily, is being reactive. Once stuff hits the fan, now we're going to deal with it. After they kill another Black man, that's when we're going to go ahead and protest and beg for the judicial system. After it happens, that's when we're going to, and shout outs to those of you that are proactive. Shout outs to the diaspora that's like, you know what? The buck stops here with me and my family in America. It's never been good for our family. or whatever. Those of you guys in Europe, African migrants that are deciding to return home, big shout outs to you, because at the end of the day, this is how you begin to address your problems. You know, I understand that one of the biggest problems facing continentals in the diaspora is the communication gap. Okay, people here on the continent don't know what's going on out in the West, and people in the West don't know what's going on here on the continent, and it's leading both of us astray. You know, people here on the continent think that all their wealth and prosperity is abroad, and people in the West feel trapped. I don't even know, but I bet you if you did a poll right now about how many Americans were happy with their life and their quality of life in America, more than 50% would say that they are not happy. Probably less than 25% would say, yes, I love this country. You know, my needs are met. You know, I don't care where you live in America. There are things that are affecting Americans. The chemically modified foods is one of them. People are in poor health in the West, and poor health leads to illness, leads to hospitalization, leads to premature death. You know, now people probably at the top, they can have organic foods, they can have personal chefs and this and that. But, you know, again, you can't sit in water and not be wet. You will be impacted by your environment no matter where you are. Gun violence. Even if you are a millionaire in the US, you could go out somewhere and have a situation. That's not freedom. That's not liberty. That's not safety. You know, Black people, the treatment of Black people, the racism, the systematic racism. You know, I'm someone who lived, I guess I would say, a comfortable lifestyle in the US. You know, nice apartment, nice car, nice clothes, went out, you know, for restaurants a lot, traveled. But I felt psychologically suppressed in America. And that was devastating to me, because I would look at my life in the long form and think, I'm literally going to be prohibited from achieving my dreams in this setting. And that was something that I came to the conclusion in my early 20s, that this was what I was facing, you know? So big shout out to the family. Yes, today we're talking about outsourcing the issues in our community. You know, men need to take their position. Currently, the passport bros are going to foreign countries and enjoying women that were raised by other men. If a Black man has so many grievances with Black women, whose fault is that? A Black woman had a what? Black father. Either he was there or he wasn't. If she's not a marriage material, if she's not suitable and all of these things, then the person who should be blamed in many cases, maybe it's not the mom, maybe it's the dad. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these passport bros had children they were neglecting in the West. You know, scared to commit, blah, blah, blah. Because I guess it must be easier just to hop on a plane and go meet someone else in their setting and enjoy them than to deal with the issues in your own backyard. You know, relationships was only one part of the reason I moved abroad. I had a lot more issues with the systematic racism, because I need to be able to escalate and be progressive in my life in order for me to have hope and to, you know, carry on with this routine. I'm not a slave. So the lifestyle that was afforded to me in the West, I didn't want it. You know, in addition to the dating and family and community issues in the West. But for me, my move is largely about quality of life. You know, I want to live in a warm climate. I want to live in a Black majority. I want to eat organic foods. I want to, live a more relaxed lifestyle, that I'm able to afford a better lifestyle here with the same amount of money, that I would generate in the West. I'm able to have more here. These are my fundamental reasons. Obviously, having a companion, and I've had, several relationships and all of that. It's great. For me, it's not necessarily compulsory because I move for quality of life. But, I don't think even if I was in a happy relationship that I would still be content living in America. Me being, in a happy relationship is not going to change the weather. It's not going to change racism. It's not going to change the gun violence or the chemically modified foods. So I still would not have felt that the American environment was ideal. For those of you that are going solely for romantic relationships, then maybe taking a look at your surroundings and the people in your surroundings might be where you start. Are you difficult? Are you irresponsible? You know what I mean? Are you willing to alleviate the stress of your partner? I firmly believe that a relationship should bring you some reprieve. And everything is not money, guys. Sometimes it's just having company, just having that comfort, having a good conversation or a laugh, or spending quality time together, going for a walk, going to the gym together. We have centralized everything around money, and the state of our community is terrible. And we go to foreign lands and we can enjoy the community, but the truth is the people that built that community are not us, and they're grateful to even allow us to partake in it, really. Because if they were Americans, they would just be like, nah, this is our stuff. Y'all go back home. We don't want you here. And be all xenophobic and all that stuff. Maybe if you go to foreign countries, you observe, how is it that these ladies are like this? Or how is it that these men are like this? I think that the men here on the continent, the reason they are family oriented, the reason that they are more masculine and stuff, is because they're socialized with other men. They grow up in cohesive families, generational families. They're getting so much exposure to what men are supposed to be, or in some cases, what men are not supposed to be, that them becoming a man and functioning as a man is not foreign. Unfortunately for men in the West, in many cases, them functioning as a man, as a husband or father, is foreign because it's something that they've never been exposed to. Their whole 30, 40, 45, 50 years, they had to wing it and figure it out instead of them being mentored like many of these other nations, because having a father figure or males in their life is standard. I'm not going to say that there's not single families or widowed families and stuff around the world. Obviously, we know that's true. But there's a disproportionate amount because it's become a status norm in America, for instance. It's become a norm in the UK. It's not discouraged. Society doesn't reject it anymore the way it used to reject it in the West. So that means people are doing it and not thinking twice about it, versus in many of these other foreign nations, it's still frowned upon. Social norms is what governs a people, if you don't know. It's not the police officers. It's the fact that a person doesn't want to be judged by their neighbor. They don't want their parents to be ashamed of them. They don't want to be looked at in a certain image in society. That's what governs people, not the police or the government. And the reason why people are so willy-nilly in America is because of the lack of community. People know they can do whatever they want to do and not be judged. So they're doing it. That's why we're leading in nonsense around the world. We are the leading country in nonsense. America is. We do things that are shameful in the majority of the rest of the world, and we have no shame. You know, and unfortunately, as the diaspora, we are not realizing that charity starts in the home. Until we address our issues in the West, you know, perhaps for those of you that are there and matriculating there, then these problems will abound. And for those of you that are parents and raising your kids in those environments, I mean, bruh, if you're not giving them alternatives, I don't know what you think is going to change, you know, within their, you know, 18, 20 years, that's going to make it a more ideal place for community. I've been noticing lately a lot of young people are getting involved in heinous crimes. Big shout out to Blockavelli. Thank you so much for the super chat. I've noticed that young people are getting involved in very heinous crimes. Their friends are murdering them, setting them up, doing all kind of stuff. There was a situation where a young lady traveled to Mexico with some of her friends for her birthday, and they beat her and recorded it and ultimately killed her. I know there was another young lady who she was running a salon. She was in her early 20s, I believe in like Chicago. Somebody came and tore up the salon and shot her down. I mean, at my age, you know, when I was that age, when I was early 20s, you know, most of my peers, quite frankly, were in university at that time. And the only people we knew that were dealing with, you know, premature deaths and stuff was either people that were in the street life, or thank you, Tilly, for your super chat, sweetheart. See you there. Big shout outs to the family. I appreciate you guys for supporting this topic, because I think we need to talk about it. I think that we need to be encouraging our peers to become problem solvers for our own problems instead of encouraging them to outsource. Like I said, you can go on YouTube right now and find thousands of videos from the Passport Bros motivating people to move abroad for sex tourism. But you probably can find a fraction of brothers promoting their bros to get it together and be better men and addressing issues in their own backyard. You know, how can a grown man sit there and blame a woman for his situation? Are you not a man? Is this not a man's world? Even I don't sit here and blame anybody for my failures. I don't even, me, I don't sit there and be like, yeah, so-and-so's fault that I'm going through this and that, my ex-husband, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Thanks, Blockavelli, for your super chat. He says, I think the West as a whole is too far gone. I think some individuals can be saved, but as a whole, I don't think so. It is what it is. I don't know. But I'm saying even beyond the West specifically, because I see the same connotation here on the continent, whereas I want to travel to the West. And if you take time and speak to most of the youth, and you start picking their brains about what they want to do and blah, 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 you know, they believe, I mean, it's outsourcing to me. It's like, I need to travel abroad. That's the only way I can make it. There's nothing to be considered in my own backyard. You know, I'd rather go live in another man's land that has already been sorted out and, you know, be subject to whatever is a part of that land. And to me, quite frankly, shout outs to any secret admirers that are like eyeing me up. And they're like, yeah, African superstar, one of these days. I don't like those kind of men. It's an instant turnoff. Like when I hear people say stuff like that, I'm like, wow, you know, here I am hustling and trying to make something happen here on the continent. I'm traveling back and forth. I work warehouse jobs and I'm creative and I'm doing music and I'm trying to find my own way up because I believe I can find my own way up, you know? And then I hear some man that's like, yeah, I need to go eat off somebody else's plate. To me, it's very unattractive. You know, I will lose respect for that kind of man because I believe where there's a will, there's a way, you know? And if you ain't willing to at least try to feed yourself, then I look at you like, I don't think you'd be a good proponent for family because you depend on somebody else's hand to eat. You have no zest to solve it yourself. And it's crazy to me. So anyway, before these points, I was talking about when I was 21. The only people I knew that were dying prematurely were like them street hood people, you know, and maybe reckless people. You know, you're drinking and driving, you know, you're doing these kind of things, whatever. There were some at the wrong place at the wrong time kind of things, but that was the connotation. I mean, you know, a lot of young people just getting caught up in violence for no reason nowadays. And I don't know that we can be blaming other people. You know, I don't know. YPK says continentals generally are unable to fully appreciate the lives of African Americans in the United States. What's up, Jim? Joel, I see you there. Big shout outs to the family. I'm having this conversation. We looking outside too much, guys. We're looking outside. We live in paradise. You know, those of us here in Ghana. We live in a tropical land that, you know, this is like $1 million real estate, really. You get to live in a place with the sun all year long. And for a lot of us, the cost of our living here, I mean, you may have an absorbent lifestyle that may be your taste. But quite frankly, you know, especially if you're living outside of Ghana, you can get really nice housing for very affordable. You know, I've seen some stories about people getting, you know, some of you with larger families, getting whole houses and all this kind of stuff, buying prime real estate for a few thousand or whatever. And it's just such a privilege, you know, quite frankly. And we don't want to like look inward. We just want to look out. Big shout outs, family. S.A. Smith says, people in the West are convinced to love the country above all, which means some are afraid to see Africa as an option. What's up, Brown Coat Blue? I see you in the building. Tilly says, the way women are disrespecting men now is on a different level. I don't understand women. We need to start looking at ourselves because remember, we have sons. I mean, a lot of women are just way out of line. Way out of line. You know? And I don't also know why we don't pay attention to the fact that other women are not doing what we're doing. You know, these other women, I mean, maybe these foreign women, even African women, you know, to see them degrade their own men in a public forum is unbelievable. At the same time, wanting these men. You know, just imagine that there's a future suitor of mine watching this channel. Shout out to African Superstar family. Listen, if you're a future suitor of mine, or so you think, you should be buying my EP, watching my videos, super chatting, hello, commenting. You need to be an active part of what I'm doing, bro. But just imagine there's a future suitor who comes here and watches me. And every other 5 minutes, oh, big shout outs to Michelle. I see you, man. Big shout outs to the family. Let me see what Michelle did. Hold on. She said she sent a cash app. And every 5 minutes, I'm just insulting black men, calling them out of their names, just doing all this kind of stuff. He would be like, wow, Gina is just out of control. Thank you so much, Michelle. Big shout out to Michelle, man. She did it big. Send me 25. I appreciate that. My Cash App is $African Superstar. Y'all see, look, see, I don't gotta have a new iPhone like y'all. I told y'all, I can live a little less is more sometimes. I'm gonna get the phone sorted, but just not right now. Thank you, Michelle, for that Cash App, sweetheart. I see you there. And all my super chat donors in the building. What's up, Alexis? I see you. Yeah, but so let me finish this point, and then I gotta go because I gotta go to the gym. How y'all see? Look how fit and strong. Boy, y'all just can't nobody tell me nothing. Woo! They can't tell me nothing. But women, let me just talk to y'all. Okay? Being degrading to Black men in a public forum while simultaneously wanting a good Black man is not productive. Sorry. Because a smart Black man will say, well, this woman, she has no problem slamming Black men or disrespecting Black men. So if I get on her bad side, then she will have the same opinion of me. And it's very true. It's very true. I would, if I met a man who, was always like, these bees, this, these bees, that, my baby mama, blah, 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 and he's always slamming women, same way like when I meet Ghanaians here and they talk bad about Ghana. Ghana ain't this, Ghana ain't that, these Ghanaian women, these Ghanaian men are this. I'm like, ooh, yeah. Because right now, I'm on your good side. Right now, we cool. But as soon as we might have a disagreement, you're going to be talking with that one way to me. Black men and women, just need to have a universal code because nobody else does this. Nobody else does this. So you think that the Latino women don't have problems with the Latino men? I've heard there's a lot of domestic abuse that goes on in the Latin community. I've heard there's a lot of infidelity that goes on in the Latin community. But I'm still waiting to see a viral TikTok video from a Latina going off about these dudes in Brazil, going off about these dudes in DR. Where's the Chinese video? Where's the video from? Well, they definitely ain't gonna do it in the Middle East. Yeah, they'll die in the Middle East. They talk back to their husbands or talk bad about their husbands. But yeah, I'm waiting for the viral video of the Ghanaian woman who says Ghanaian men are this and that. I'll never date a Ghanaian man, and only Black people from the West do this BS while simultaneously wanting partners. Crazy. So for the males and females that are here today, or those of you that will eventually see this video, big shout outs to all my super chat donors. Thank you so much. To Janelle. It starts with you. Looking at yourself alone, naked and afraid, whatever. You start asking yourself, am I that kind of woman? Would somebody say to me, oh, you remind me of them housewives, girls. You remind me of Cardi B. Wow, you're so loud. You have a bad temper. You're ghetto. You're this. You're unprofessional. Whatever. Do those descriptions fit you? Just be real. And if they do, and maybe you like it, okay, whatever, you might like it. I don't think I have any of those neck popping, sister chicks up on my channel, but just in case I do. If you do like it, then know what comes with that. Know the associated stereotypes and be okay with it. Because people are going to judge you. People will judge a book by its cover. That's the whole point. And you have control over your cover. If you know that if you dress like a gangster or whatever, you get let's say you decide, okay, I'm going to get all tatted up like the Latin Kings. Okay. That gang out there in California, you're going to get the whole neck tattoo. You're going to put King right here. Okay. And then you're going to put, some Catholic stuff over here. You're going to put like the Virgin Mary here. And you're going to put like, I don't know, a Chevy, old school over here with some hydraulics. Okay. People are going to start looking at you like you're a gangbanger. People are going to be like, okay, Blockavelli, he's black, but he's got Latin Kings on his neck, and he's got, the Catholic, and he looks like a gangbanger. Same thing with the women. Are you that super independent bag, I'm this and that CEO, and okay, people are going to look at you like that. Men are going to look at you like that. They're going to look at you like you don't need them. And if you give them the attitude, yeah, my man got to be doing this. Okay, well, I think we just all need to do self-assessment for real. Because the men ain't all that and the women ain't all that. Just because you have a degree, it doesn't mean you need to look down on other people. Okay? Just because you bought your own car and your house, just because you got you keep yourself together, whatever, it doesn't mean, no. That condescending attitude works against you more than it works for you. And because this is a man's world, the more men get, the more they escalate. And the more, they can have doors open to them. Unfortunately, I know you may not like it, but this is the world we live in. Okay? The more women get, sometimes the more difficult it becomes for us, because people start perceiving us in a certain way, and people want to use us, and people want to, and then because proportionately Black men and Black women are not escalating at the same level. What happens is, as the Black women escalate, there's less and less of their counterparts in their environment. See? So you're thinking, yeah, he got to be doing better than me, and he got to be doing this and that and the other. Well, now you're up at the top of the totem pole and ain't nobody up there with you. Except some white people or whatever. And you're like, damn, this is a very good point. And I'm wrapping up. Bronco Blue says, that's part of the trick. The whole system is to set up to destroy the family. The game is to make you think everyone else is getting treated better than you. Easy game, and it works well. Very, very, very good point. That's it. That's why the age-old adage from the prophet Christopher Wallace, more money, more problems, is very, very, very true. People think they want to live that life, and they don't really know. They don't really know what that life is like. And sometimes they'll look down the totem pole and they'll see people that have less than them, and they'll see poor people or whatever, or everyday people. I grew up in a suburban neighborhood. Okay. And I could tell you, when I used to go visit some of my friends that lived, more inner city, I would have the time of my life. There would be kids in the neighborhood playing, there would be, oh, let's go down to my cousin's house right down the street. We would ride bikes, shout out to everybody in Ohio. Yeah. I grew up originally on the east side of Columbus, East Livingston. You feel me? And I used to love my neighborhood over there. I could take the bus. There was a rec center. I used to volunteer at the Livingston branch right there by Barnett, East Livingston. What? Shout outs to the east side. What? Then we moved to the suburbs. And I never knew any neighbors in my neighborhood from then and there. I used to have to ride my bike so far to catch the bus to go back to my old hood where all my friends lived. I had to walk so far to the McDonald's, versus in my old hood, we had McDonald's over there. We had the UDF. Y'all taking me down memory lane. You know what I'm saying? We had some options for the snacks and the food and everything. The schools was in walking distance. You could ride your bike to the schools. It was lit, man. So I'm just saying sometimes we need to really look at this scale. It's just like, for instance, living expenses. Some of you guys are rich, huh? If you rich, then I need some super chats. What's up, family? We got 20 of y'all. Hey, what's up? Go ahead and donate to a less fortunate person today. Or go buy the EP, or go shop at theafricansuperstar.com. Or at least minimal follow me on Spotify, Audio Mac, iTunes. Please do something, okay? Please, since you're rich. Some of you guys, y'all rich. Okay, y'all got these big houses, big mortgages, you know what I'm saying? You got the 10,000 square foot mansion, whatever you're doing. You got the new Bugatti. All right. You paying so much money every month for that stuff. And sometimes you be looking at your outgoing, you're like, oh my God, I spent $2,000 this month on bills and car note and cell phone and insurance and blah, blah, blah. I've spent so much money, and think back to, when you used to have a one room shack. Shout out again to Christopher Wallace. You used to have a one room shack. Used to pay, $500, $600 for that apartment or whatever. You had a lot more spendable money. Used to go to the barbershop every week, get the new J's. You know what I'm saying? For the ladies, you had the designer jeans. I'm straight 90s. So you had the little Sergio Rossi, you had the little Parasuco jeans, huh? You could do a lot more when you were spending less. You feel me? So if we started looking internally, we can do a lot more. I want to see Ghana be lit. I want to see it be great. If in the future, young people don't have to migrate to make a life, I think that's great. Saving young Africans from going through the racism and the psychological games and the depression and the loneliness and the dysfunctional community, like, that's so meaningful to me. That's what we're doing this for, to create, things here that means they don't have to go there, or they don't necessarily desire to go there because they have their needs met where they are. So big shout outs. All right, family. I'm done now for real. Big shout outs to all of you guys. Thank you so much for rocking with me on this live stream. I'm going to the gym, huh? Yes, I'm totally fit. Look at that. I don't have them auntie arms, huh? Shout out to the one and only African superstar. I'm proud of my progress. See, I got time to be at the gym, y'all. Look good. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.